Biden's prosecutor, Matthew Colangelo, you know this guy, he is a little bit behind the scenes, not front and center like Alvin Bragg or Fani Willis or Tish James, but he's been responsible for a lot of the lawfare against Trump. Now, he is getting an investigation launched his direction from Jim Jordan and the Judiciary Committee, and we got some reaction to what's happening in all of these cases, courtesy of Weissmann and Alina Habba. But remember Matthew Colangelo, he has been around with everybody. He's been someone who worked for the Obama DOJ. He worked with Tish James. After Tish, he went and joined Joe Biden. And then after that, when Alvin Bragg was getting a little bit squishy, he went over there and got that case back on track. And remember, Alvin Bragg took office and a bunch of prosecutors resigned. Mark Pomerantz and Kerry Dunn both exited because Bragg wasn't going to prosecute Trump. Colangelo came and joined. Case is back in action. Isn't that amazing how that works? So this same dude has been around every single time his life work is targeting Trump. And so there are open questions about whether that's justice or not, whether that's appropriate to have a single prosecutor making it their life's work to go take out, you know, the political opponent of all of those people, Obama, Tish, Biden, Bragg, and they call it just prosecution. Well, here is what Jim Jordan said. Going over to Congress, from Congress to the Honorable Merrick Garland, Jim Jordan from the Judiciary Committee, House of Representatives, chairman from Ohio, he tells us, all right, dear Attorney General Garland, loser, the Committee on the Judiciary is conducting oversight, politically motivated prosecutions by state and local officials, and since last year, popularly elected prosecutors like Alvin Bragg, who campaigned for office on the promise of prosecuting Trump, engaged in the unprecedented abuse of prosecutorial authority, the indictment of a former president of the United States and the current leading candidate for that office. Now, New York County Attorney Alvin Bragg is engaged in one of these politicized prosecutions, which is being led in part by Matthew Colangelo, who is a former senior Justice Department official, Assistant Deputy AG, I believe. Now, accordingly, given the perception that the Justice Department is assisting in Bragg's politicized prosecution because Colangelo came from there, we write to request information and documents related to Mr. Colangelo's employment, which I'd love to see these. You know, this is actually a good request because what's happening here? Is he just like, it's a coincidence, you know? I just got tired of the DOJ, you know? I think New York would be a good change for me. Then he goes to New York and then he goes back to the DOJ and then suddenly he's back in New York again. I got tired of the DOJ. Let's go back to New York. So meanwhile, he's following Trump around everywhere he goes. The cases. Now, Colangelo's recent employment history demonstrates his obsession with investigating a person rather than prosecuting a crime. Now, at the New York Attorney General's office, Colangelo ran investigations into Trump, leading a, quote, wave of state litigation against Trump administration policies. Now, on January 20th, the first day of the Biden administration, Colangelo began serving as the acting associate attorney general. And that's with Biden. Before that, I think he was with Obama. He was one level lower. Now, the number 3 official in your department. Now, upon the confirmation of Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta, he then served as, there it is, the principal deputy associate AG afterwards. So in December, Bragg beefed up his office, right? And that's just after they decided not to prosecute Trump. We had Kerry Dunn and Mark Pomerantz resign. They send their nasty letter. He goes out, writes a book about it. Trump, my life's work. Then Bragg gets Colangelo and boom, the case comes back. He hired Colangelo to fill the void left by Pomerantz and Dunn. Bragg hired Colangelo to, quote, jumpstart his office's investigations of Trump, reportedly due to Colangelo's history of, quote, taking on Trump and his family business. And so Colangelo, of course, is now the lead prosecutor in Trump's trial. So here's the problem. Bragg's prosecution concerns federal subject matter that's identical to the same issues that the DOJ investigated and closed in 2018. So we've got questions about this, Bragg, raising concerns that a state-level prosecutor is seeking to relitigate an issue which the feds have already closed. Now, in addition to this, Bragg's prosecution relies heavily on the testimony of his star witness, Michael Cohen, who happens to be a convicted felon with a demonstrable animus towards Trump. And he's a serial perjurer, just lied again in New York. Cohen pleaded guilty to lying to Congress in 2019, when he testified before the Democrat-led House Committee on Oversight in a hearing orchestrated by Democrat activists to aid their investigation into Trump. Cohen lied again 6 times. In the years since, Cohen's been vocal about his deeply personal animus towards President Trump, and so that's why they are using him as a witness. Now, as the committee has previously explained, Bragg's politicized prosecution of Trump has serious consequences for federal interests, and we're Congress, so we're concerned about that. That a former senior Biden Justice Department official is now leading the prosecution of Biden's chief political rival not only adds to the perception that the DOJ is politicized and weaponized, and it only adds to that. Now, accordingly, we asked for the following information there. Merrick, 1, all documents and communications for the period of January 2021 to December 2022 from Colangelo to anybody in Bragg's office. And, oh, look at this one. Look who made the cut. Fannie's office. Yeah. And the DOJ Special Counsel's office. So anything between or among Colangelo and any employee, agent, or anybody, right? And this is what we've long suspected. This is exactly the point of this, is that Colangelo is specifically following Trump around between all of these offices. Now, Fannie is not on this list because he didn't work for her, but there are other people who with close ties to the Biden administration who have. And so is this dude the mastermind who's just setting up these prosecutorial franchises one after the other? Says anything related to Colangelo and Trump, the Trump organization, any other entity owned or controlled by Trump. We want all personnel files related to Colangelo's hiring, employment, termination at the DOJ, all documents about his hiring with the Office of Presidential Personnel, all documents about the DOJ and Alvin Bragg related to the prosecution of Trump, all documents in Cohen's case in this one and Cohen's case this one. They say, hey, Merrick, please provide the information requested as soon as possible, but no later than May 14th at 5 p.m. sharp. SCOTUS has recognized that Congress has broad and indispensable powers to request this information, and so pursuant to the rules of the House of Representatives, the committee is authorized to conduct this oversight, and we're going to do that now. If you have any questions, let us know. Sincerely, your friend, Jim Jordan, Chairman, House of Representatives, Judiciary Committee from the House of Representatives. All right, so that's the letter. Now, I would like to know a lot more about Matthew Colangelo. He really is kind of a sleeper cell guy. It's hard to find a lot of info about him, and his role at the Biden DOJ was a little bit more muted when he was there working under Eric Holder, but he's been around for a long time, and so more details about this connection, this relationship, I think would be very, very helpful in showing what a partisan hack he truly is. So Jim Jordan sent that over here. Now, we're talking about the Bragg prosecution and how corrupt the whole thing is. We've got Stormy Daniels, who we know what her background is, who wanted to make Dancing with the Stars again, was going to try to restart her career. We had McDougal, Droopy, who had her problems, wanted to restart her career. So all these people are trying to exploit Trump. We have this question about what is this alternative theory, right? If Trump was orchestrating this mastermind conspirator, even though there is no conspiracy charge in this case, they say there's plenty of evidence to support that. What's the alternative theory? Well, how about the idea is that Trump is Trump and Michael Cohen is helping to facilitate these deals? He saw a great thing happen with McDougal and the lawyer Keith Davidson, and he got, was supposed to get a nice deal from that settlement. So he wants to conduct his own little deal now, right? We've got Stormy comes into the play. He's going to be the middleman, take a cut off the top of settling these claims. And so I want to share this clip with you from Weissmann, who calls Cohen a dog who brings in a pheasant. For some reason, he has a hard time understanding this alternative thesis that maybe Cohen's the epicenter of all this, and it's not Trump at all. Cohen is a convicted perjurer and serial perjurer, according to a federal judge. Here's Weissmann.
To his campaign. So you would really have to believe that Michael Cohen did all of this and then somehow was reimbursed and is having all of these phone calls with Donald Trump, but none of this was anything that Donald Trump knew anything about at all. I mean, it just becomes...
Well, that's not the standard, right? It's legal services, right? He knows that Cohen's doing legal work for him, and he's knowingly paying for legal services to rectify all these things. But Trump doesn't need to know all the details about it, clearly.
So implausible as to why you would be doing that. I mean, remember, Michael Cohen had sort of bragging rights for this. In other words,
that's right.
This isn't something that he would sheepishly tell Donald Trump
that's
he's
right.
doing under this theory. He'd be like going, look what I did for you,
exactly.
boss. Like a dog coming
ding,
in with
ding.
a pheasant in its mouth.
Got it, genius.
Like I was able to come up with the money to pay off Stormy Daniels and be the bank that David Pecker was refusing. It's like, I am your new David Pecker, and I actually took out a frigging home equity line of credit in order to do it. So, I just think it's a very hard job to figure out what is the counter narrative that is remotely plausible here.
It's that Cohen did it. Cohen wanted to get in on the grift. Cohen was facilitating these deals to get paid thousands of dollars. He was telling Trump he was rectifying these things. There were other NDA. It's a common course of business, right? So Cohen just says, I can do that. This Keith Davidson guy, he comes in, he settles this with McDougal. He's making 45% on that deal. Are you nuts? Cohen's like, this is great. I'll get in on this. No problem. So he starts, assembling these deals, goes through all this crap on his own. He doesn't have a bank, right? He doesn't have a bank like Pecker does. Pecker's got a bunch of cash so he can facilitate these deals. Cohen needs to get this grift started. So he's going to come out of pocket because he knows he's going to get a big windfall when he goes back and says, I settled more claims for you just like that guy did. And here's my fee, right? So it's clearly an alternative theory there that exonerates exonerates Trump, or I think creates distance between what they're even alleging. And to be honest with you, I don't even know what they're alleging. They haven't even made that point yet. We know it's 34 counts of falsifying a business record, but we've been talking about conspiracies and, relationships and sounds like fraud and all these other conspiracy charges, like which are actually criminal charges, but they're not in the indictment. So I don't even know what we're talking about or what he's trying to prove here. That Trump knowingly created a false business record when he paid his lawyer a legal retainer. Is that the crime? We're still waiting for the crime. All right. So of course we know it's all just a scam, and Weissmann, I think he knows it's a scam too. He's playing the game, or maybe not. He's a former prosecutor, so he might actually be brain dead. It's hard to tell with some of these people. I don't know if they're playing the shtick, given the talking points in a dishonest fashion, or if they are just that dumb. So here is Alina Habba in the house. And on Locals this morning on our members only stream, someone shared an article. Apparently she's, like a marksman. She's like a sniper. She was out at the range.
Look, yesterday they brought witnesses on that were good for the defense. Let's be clear. And the truth is, if these jurors are given proper instructions, if they look at the law, if they look at the facts, there has been nothing provided thus far. It's noise. All it is noise and political motivation. If they apply law to fact, they will see that President Trump has done nothing wrong. This is a complete hoax. I mean, I hate to use the word, but it's overused, but it is the truth. It's a hoax. And when you look at it and you say, okay, if you're an American person and you care about the law and you worry about yourself being put in this situation, then you should decide very correctly and very swiftly that President Trump did nothing wrong. He was in the White House at the time, for crying out loud. I mean, what is more evident than that?
Just quickly, there was a report in the New York Times, again, look at the source, that Trump has been frustrated with his legal defense thus far throughout this trial. What do you say to that?
I say that that's the same thing they do every time there's a trial. They talk about the lawyers because anything Trump is clickbait. The truth of the matter is, I think he's frustrated with the case. I think anybody that is watching this that's got their head on straight is frustrated with this case. But this has nothing to do with the legal team. They're doing a great job.
Great job to Trump's team. So far, it's been looking good on our end. And of course, the trial is still very fresh. For guys like Weissmann to come out and say, like, it's all a foregone conclusion, like there's clearly evidence. We haven't even heard from Michael Cohen yet. So we're going to be covering this, my friends. Thank you for joining us as we do. Of course, we got our subscribe button. We'd love it if you click that along with the like button. We'd love it if you invited someone over here to come and join us when we go live. We got some great links down in our description below, including watchingthewatchers.locals.com, our members only community. We do live streams in the morning, shows on Saturday. We'll see you over there and back here on the next one.